No one would have expected, inside a neglected garden shed in the Hertfordshire countryside, would be planted the seed of something magical.
Hello everybody, welcome to My Life with Ferrets. I am Keeper Kate, this is Scruffles and this is Wriggles, and we are here to share the comings and goings of ferret life for the past week. And what a week it has been. The girls are at least 20% cuter than they were last week, and I may be about 20% fatter. More on that later. But before we rip the top off the clips barrel, it is time to meet another essential worker to the FerretTube family, our guy in the chair, Mr. Fluffy Muffin, MahdDogg.
Fluffy Muffin! I love it. I love it.
Fluffy Muffin.
I'm going to have to apologise. Sorry, I'm going to have to apologise if I'm a little croaky today. I've got a bit of a cold.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's very sad. Well, I had my vaccination yesterday.
You did?
I did. I've got a sore arm. But other than that, absolutely fine. A little bit more tired perhaps than usual, but you know, nothing out of the ordinary. So really glad that I got that done.
Excellent.
Of course, before we start showing you our clips this week, if you haven't already subscribed, we would really appreciate your support. We are forging ahead to that magic 1,000 subscribers where we can apply for the partnership program, and that will give us a whole load of community tools that we can use to help keep you informed about what we're doing and when, and also involve you in the whole creation process as well, which we love to do. But of course, you can't join in if you don't hit that subscribe button. So go ahead and mash it now, right, MahdDogg?
Mash it, like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well, and it'll send you a little thing through to your phone or your browser when we've posted something brand new. And we've got lots coming if this week is anything to go by at all.
Absolutely.
Oh my.
As usual, after we're done with the clips, we're going to throw open the doors to the enclosure until Sunday night, so you can watch the ferrets live on Twitch, FerretTube, if you want to watch next weekend. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously it's already happened. This is in the past. But we've got 5 HD cameras in here, and then of course we've got the 1 HD camera out on the external run, which is live on the YouTube channel, FerretTube.live 24/7 anyway. So plenty of floof to keep you entertained. But first, let's find out what they got up to this week.
Well, this week's quite an interesting one, Kate, because while there is a lot of floof in it, there's also a lot of food. And specifically, we're kicking off, you've been working on a special recipe, and this has kind of become a theme for the last few weeks of FerretTube TV. You in the kitchen doing a little bit of cooking for not just yourself, but for the girls too. Give us a reminder of why are you actually cooking stuff for your ferrets?
Well, if you've been following the show over the last 8 weeks or so, you'll know that the girls have got something wrong with them. They are losing weight week on week, and it's been going on for 3 months. And we'll talk about the vet update a little bit later on, actually after this. But essentially, my attempt at all these different creations are just searching the internet to find ways to get the girls to put on weight and enjoy eating more food.
Well then, let's see how this week's experiment went.
Duck soup. This is the first recipe that we're going to try from the duck soup range, and let me tell you in advance, none of them contain duck. From the research that I've done, there's a couple of different ways to do duck soup in this context. The one we're going to try today involves crushing down their regular biscuit meal, which gives them the full nutritional values that they need, and mixing it with a variety of things that are both high calorie and also that they love the taste of. So what we've got here is baby food, obviously. I went for the chicken Sunday lunch in the end. I'm going to add the ferret oil, which is mostly salmon oil that we know that they love. We also know that Scruffles especially loves an egg yolk. And then over here, this is actually a high-calorie supplement that I bought and I give them occasionally just as a boost. It's very sticky and they do love the taste, and it's very high-calorie. And we'll spike that as well with a decent dose of the old favourite Tubby Fret. First things first, crush the biscuits. Additive. Oh, that was way too much water. Oh, I just realised it's hot as well. There's hot water on raw egg yolk. I think that one's a fail. So finally, so that's a good amount for them. And we'll put a little bit of salmon oil as well in for good measure. This is the one I suspect they might eat. Okay, ladies, dinner is served. And I think they may be hungry. Come on then, girls. Are you ready? Come on then. Are you hungry? Let's see what they make of them.
I know that you're curious, I know that you're strong, but life is furious and things can go wrong. You go.
So that
We're better off tomorrow.
is the high-calorie supplement,
If we get joy or
salmon pate and salmon oil mixed with the biscuits, which are all treats that they get regularly. But if that encourages her to eat biscuits as well, as she's doing right now, look at that, she's wolfing it down.
Don't drench your desire in what you can't control.
No interest in the baby food
Try so hard to get there, and
version.
we might be lost, but not forever.
Okay, that's a good duck soup. Look at that. She's ploughing through that. Wriggles, Wriggles, you're not going to eat.
Things in life you simply need to know. But sun and rain and trust and letting go. It takes a bit of suffering.
Not hungry, I guess.
Sleepless nights and wandering before you make it safely to
Oh my God.
the end. The end. The end.
Scruffles going to eat the whole bowl. Well, I'm going to chalk that down as an utter success. I'm so happy. Quite a thrill. So yeah, quite a thrill. I mean, genuinely, I was so excited to see her just sort of chow down, and that was a good quantity of biscuits consumed there. You know, she would have eaten the high calorie, you know, sort of multivitamin paste, but getting her to take a good amount of the nutritional balanced biscuit meal in at the same time is a real relief. It's since that was on Monday, I think. No, that was on Tuesday. And when I brought the food to her on Wednesday, she didn't show it as much interest. And I dipped my finger in it and sort of, poked it towards her face to say, no, look, it's the same as it was yesterday. And she ate it off my finger.
Right.
But she wouldn't go to the bowl, so I scooped a bit more onto my finger. And she ate it off my finger. So I got the teaspoon and I started spooning it to her. And she's eating. So she requires me to hand feed it to her on a teaspoon.
On a teaspoon? Is it a silver teaspoon with your little pinky finger hanging out all dainty?
Well, you'll be able to see later in the show, because obviously that's one of the things we're going to do this weekend, and I will record it for posterity, my incredibly spoilt ferret. But I have, when in researching how you can sort of combat these health issues that we've been having, I've read about a lot of other people's experiences, and I do read quite a lot of, articles of people saying they hand-fed their ferret, and I was like thinking, why would you the ferrets, if they can move their head, they can eat, right? It's not like it's a complicated process. But no, apparently it's a thing. Apparently she just, when it's down on the ground, she just kind of like sniffs at it, shows some interest, but then she kind of she gets a bit kind of woozy about it, and I don't know, she almost gets confused. Then or she'll lick a tiny bit and she'll have an imaginary string of meat. And she'll kind of like lift her head like this, and then she'll go wandering off, and it's like you've got a crumb on your lip, but like that's not. But if I take her in my hand and actually, give it to her, she sort of stays focused on the food. So I've done that 3 times now this week, and then that was the fourth. So that you just saw doing it herself was the 4th good meal she had this week like that. So I am quietly confident, and of course Wriggles has been sampling it a bit too, although she's not sort of so desperate need. But yeah, I'm quietly confident that there's going to be a double weight gain when we do the weigh-in tomorrow.
I'm sure everyone wants to know, how were the poos?
The poos have been really good, actually. The last 4 days, the poos have all looked fine. And I'm even, if they put on weight tomorrow, I'm going to stop giving the Pepto-Bismol. So we'll, so then we'll just keep an eye out for the poops beginning to look dodgy again. I did have a phone call with a vet planned today. The people on the forum obviously have been a great help on our Discord forum, by the way. You join us on Discord, the link's in the description below. But they've been a great help, sort of doing research and posting articles. There's been a lot of talk about poop, obviously. And sort of 2 weeks ago, the girl's poop was very golden. It was the first time I'd really seen it that I could remember, although it may have been golden to begin with, but it's been so bloody and full of, dark that you just haven't seen the goldenness of it, and that signifies diarrhea. And one of the potential causes of that diarrhea, they said was something called ECE, and I printed out the document so I can read it to you. So it is epizootic catarrhal enteritis in ferrets. And it's essentially a novel coronavirus. So it's not COVID-19, but, there are a lot. We've had coronaviruses that have been around, for decades, I think, even. And it's not, so I've been in communication with a vet this week, because when I read the symptoms, loss of appetite, greenish, watery, slimy diarrhea, stool stained with black with blood, sluggishness they haven't got, but weight loss, weakness they haven't got. But so anyway, I phoned up the vet and I was like, have we screened for that yet? And what do we do? Can we? And it's really frustrating because my vet is only in the practice on Thursdays and Fridays. So I had to wait until I was supposed to have I booked an appointment with him by phone for 5:30 tonight. But this morning when I was speaking to the nurse about confirming it, he'd never heard of this. Okay. And he was looking into it. He'd heard of, obviously that he's treated coronavirus in cats, novel coronavirus infections in cats. But it's not something he's looked at for ferrets. He's going to have a look at it. They've got in touch with their lab. The lab that they currently use doesn't do a test for it, but they pass them on to another lab. This other lab said, well, we do offer the test, but we don't actually do it. We just pass it on to another lab. So we might just as well give you their details. And when I spoke to the nurse, Catherine, about an hour ago, she was still waiting to hear back from them as to what the process is and how much it is. Right. And when she's got that information, she'll give it to me, and I'll be able to say whether or not I want to have the test done. If it's a biopsy, we're not going to have it done. But it's because a biopsy, a stomach biopsy in a ferret is a very invasive and dangerous operation.
Yes. Yeah.
But if it's another round of poop testing, then I'm willing to go for it. But the interesting thing is, the nurse said, because I said, can we not sort of just preemptively treat it or assumptively treat it? Yeah. Like we did with the Helicobacter. And she said, you can't treat a coronavirus. It's not an antibiotic thing. They have to just get over it. And I'm not convinced that that's accurate. I mean, this document here that I've printed off the internet, I know you don't believe, but it's, it was from a pet medical site that I was on. And the treatment is prescribed antibiotics and antiviral drugs. Yeah. So, but also the other treatment, it says here treatment, veterinarian will prescribe antibiotics and antiviral drugs to treat the ferret. Protective medicine for the intestinal lining might also be prescribed. We've been doing that, Pepto-Bismol. Yeah. Yeah. Along with the medication, nutritional treatment in the form of fluids and a bland, easily digested diet is needed. So, we're doing those things already, and we're doing what we can to get her eating, or get them eating. The question is whether or not they will just get over it, or if they're going to need some kind of prescription antibiotics or antiviral drugs. But, at least I should know Monday or Tuesday how much that test is and what it entails. And if it's just going to be another week of poop collection and sending that off, then I'm prepared to do that, because I think it's worth knowing. Yeah, definitely. At least we can rule it out. But at the moment, it seems like we've got it under control. But it's definitely not, they're not right yet, No. There's still, their poops aren't perfect. They're looking good, but they're not, perfect.
This comes all the way back to the very beginning, where we spoke to Arena the vet, and we were introduced to the concept of the wonderful poop.
Yes.
And that's all we're looking for, the wonderful poop.
Beautiful poop, I think it is.
The beautiful poop, yes. So let's move away from the poop and the food just for a little bit, because you did a bit of reorganising around the enclosure, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the regulars, you can't see it at the moment, but when we're on Twitch a bit later on, you'll be able to see all the cameras. But I've actually moved these tubes around, and Scruffles is very nicely demonstrating. She's bringing Fluffnut out of it at the moment. Here we are. They're basically the toys. I went in there because I'd seen, or actually Annie had spotted Fluffnut being dunked in the pool and then dragged into the tube. So we had a very wet Fluffnut in the tube. And in going to get that out, I thought I'd better clean everything else out of there. And there was a very musty smelling shaky fox who'd obviously gone the same way a few days previously, and had just been left there. So I emptied everything out. I washed the shaky foxes and the Fluffnut, and I've actually rechanneled it so that the entrance is up here rather than over the swimming pool. So hopefully we can avoid the damp. So it was fun, and this is a really good example of, or a really good indication of Scruffles' complete and utter obsession with hiding her toys. So you can see I'm just unattaching, and it's always a lot of fun actually cleaning out their tube, because they get very agitated about it, and they start they just want to climb in it. And look, you can see Wriggles there at the moment. She's climbing in it, and I'm trying to get her out so that I can empty it. But they get very angst about the biscuits that they've got stashed in there, and the fact that I'm taking them away.
It's like they've forgotten entirely. There's a big bowl of biscuits up on the next level. It's like, no, those are my tunnel biscuits. I need them.
I know, and they're like all stale. They've been in there for like, you know, a week or whatever. It's like, you're not going to eat them. Just let me clean them out.
Yeah. Oh dear. They must have gone like all soft and squishy after all that time.
I don't think they weren't soft and squishy, but I would imagine they're stale.
Yes.
Although the ones that were close to damp shaky fox. And this is why, because I decided it was time to actually pull all the rest of the toys out of the hiding place, just to check.
Yes.
That they also weren't going musty and mouldy.
Pools now.
Ugh.
I love having that swimming pool there for them, but it does mean that toys get dunked occasionally. You just keep an eye out.
It is one of the risks that you just have to accept, really, isn't it?
Look at that
Poor
pile
shaky
there.
fox. That's huge. This is the thing that I was like, all of that came out of the tunnel cupboard thing.
And then there's those as well. There were the things that I pulled out of the...
She's... You look at it and you go, oh, it's all nice and tidy. Yes, because Scruffles has tidied it. And now she's furious. How dare you, Mummy?
She actually got a bit confused. Why are you pooping there?
Yeah, she's checking inside now to see whether or not any of the toys have been left, and she's coming for you. She's coming to tell you off.
Yeah, so that's if you ever wondered what a toy obsessed ferret looks like, it looks like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want some cheek?
She's utterly obsessed with toys.
She is. She loves her toys.
Yeah.
Oh, Wriggles, do you want some treat? Here, come on, both of you. Treats.
It's not so much playing with the toys, it's just simply the having of the toys.
She just wants... And she gets really agitated if they're not in the right place.
Well, if they're not where she put them, how's she going to know where they're going to be?
Exactly. Although she does try and get them into places that they really shouldn't go. So she's not really got the sense of scale, sorted out. But
well, let's be fair. That's something she has in common with her mum.
yeah, that's true actually, and I'm pretty sure that's a fairly good segue into our next package.
It is a good segue into our next package, because while we've got a very organised little ferret in the kitchen, we've also got a very organised Keeper Kate.
I'm not too keen on trying the girls' duck soup this week, so for my treat, I'm going to try cooking a sausage and egg muffin. I'm a huge fan of sausage and egg McMuffins, but I don't get to eat them very often because there isn't one nearby. It's my guilty pleasure, I know. But Stuart, Supermod and regular viewer, found this recipe which is supposed to emulate the McDonald's version pretty well. So both myself and MahdDogg are going to give it a go this week and see how it tastes. Now, MahdDogg is actually going to make his own muffins. Me, not so much. I'm going to just toast these off. It sounds like a lot less work.
Half a teaspoonful of dried ground sage. Half a teaspoonful of dried thyme. 1 teaspoonful of onion powder, 3/4 of a teaspoonful of black pepper, we can approximate that, 3/4 of a teaspoonful of salt, and half a teaspoonful of sugar. The way I make burger patties, which I'm doing the same here, is I palm them and then turn it using my thumb to actually make sure that the edges stay fat, because you don't want to sort of squish them out and have them all sort of thin and ragged around the edges. But if you use your thumb in that way, just turning it round and around until you've got a good shape around the edge, then you can come up with a fairly reasonable patty.
When it comes to the eggs, I'm pretty sure McDonald's create them in some kind of roll that they then just slice them off. We're obviously not going to do that. But if you haven't got an egg ring to create the round egg, tip from this article, take a tuna tin and take the top and the bottom off, and you've got the perfect size for an egg ring. Oops.
Bottom of the tin isn't really made for... How about I go like that? Tuna tins don't seem to be designed to have the bottom cut off. Maybe they're...
That's it, that's what's happened. The tuna tin manufacturers have got together with the makers of egg rings in order to bamboozle any attempt at a Heath Robinson. That's market manipulation, that is. Somebody should investigate. Meanwhile, I'll just have to fry one.
I always use rapeseed oil when I'm frying because it's got a high burning temperature and it's grown locally. All of our fields around here are beautifully yellow in the rapeseed season. We need to add the obligatory processed cheese. I think I might put 2 slices because I always think they don't have enough cheese on them. And there we have it. Sausage and egg muffin. One thing I know for sure, it doesn't look like anything I've ever bought from McDonald's. It's a very generous
portion. I'm glad I only made one. The test, though, is how does it taste? I want a yolk accident. I've got absolutely none of the sausage patty in that, but I did get a face full of egg. Okay. Oh my God. That tastes just like McDonald's sausage and egg muffin. I don't even care how I look right now. It's impossible to eat something this size gracefully. But that oh my God. Genuinely, I normally make this much of a mess with a McDonald's one as well, to be honest with you. Genuinely, apart from the size of it, if I'd closed my eyes and eaten a bite, I wouldn't have known it wasn't McDonald's. Okay. I think I need to be alone with it now. Bye. That, guys, was seriously good. Apparently, sage is the magic ingredient, and it's super simple. If you would like to follow the recipe yourself, I'll put a link in the description below. Obviously, I kept it a bit simple, not making my muffins, so I wonder how MahdDogg's getting along.
So, I'm not going to lie, I've eaten one of those every day this week, including today. I ate the last of it
Every
today.
day?
I did, in the end I did thin the meat down, make the burgers smaller, so the other ones that I've had thus far weren't that thick, and I've also used the meat twice in a pasta dish, like fried some shallots and garlic and broke the meat down and crumbled it kind of thing, and mixed with cream and on pasta, butterfly pasta.
A
with peas
McDonald's
as well.
sausage carbonara.
Yeah, with peas too. But it was delicious. It was delicious. The problem with, obviously being just one person, 500 grams of meat is a lot of meat. It's just... It
is. It does go a very, very long way. I can attest to that. But not yet. Not yet. No, we're going to leave the audience in tenterhooks because we're professionals and we know how to schedule a show. Because we're not going to see me yet. Not at all.
No.
You had a little bit of a play with a long box last weekend, as we saw in last week's show. And it wasn't just the ferrets who got to have a play with it, was it?
No. As I mentioned last week, one of the things that's been amusing me is the cats going and investigating the 2-meter long box, and I thought, well, once I've got the hidden camera hole, I really can't pass up the opportunity to just leave it in the living room with the hidden camera in there and see if we get any takers.
I think we did. At least 2.
So this is Cappy, looking obviously very suspiciously. He's much bigger than Tia is. You see there, that's the view from inside the box.
Just those glowing eyes right at the very bottom. He's coming. Here comes the Cappy.
But as I said, it's so funny because they can't move forwards in the same. They can't move backwards at that crouch in the same elegance they move forwards. So, but I didn't manage to catch him coming out. But this later on, this was Tia.
Oh, that looks scary.
It does, doesn't it? It's like the start of a sci-fi movie, particularly when the long box footage of the ferrets, because their body's silhouetted. Look at that, her eyes as she comes up. Look.
Wow.
She came all the way down. No, she thinks, can I turn around? No, I'm going to have to reverse. And then she does this kind of like really cute shuffle backwards that takes ages. Look at the eyes.
She does. She takes so long to get out. Bless her.
So that was, that was the two cats. To be honest with you, the cats are not like the ferrets. They didn't, they weren't going to go in and out. It was just kind of like, I was lucky that I caught those two with the external camera as well. But yeah, just wanted to, particularly the one of Tia, because I think that's just adorable.
That was lovely. She got all the way to the end and she tried to turn around. She tried her best, but it wasn't to be. She's not ferret size. She can't handle it.
No. We're definitely going to put the ferrets, put the long box back for the ferrets at some point in the future. But like all of these things, I don't want them to get used to anything. That's why these sort of occasional play installations happen, and why I move the tube around and stuff like that, because I think, if you can keep them interested in what's going on around them by changing it up. When they see that long box again, they're going to be so excited, because I think they'll remember, they'll be like, oh, the long box is back. We make it an event rather than something that's always there.
Yeah, because then it becomes old hat. It's like kids with a new toy at Christmas. Oh, it's all shiny and lovely. Look, it makes all these noises and I can push all these buttons. By Boxing Day, they're bored of it. And it's all over. No, you've got the right way of going about this one, Kate. I'm pretty sure you've got this one down pat.
And it's such good footage as well. I'm really looking forward to it. But we've got also an exciting announcement for the in the after show chat about cameras and footage and future plans. So if you want to catch up with that, we'll be talking about it in the after show chat, which will be linked at the end of this video, and I believe probably up there right now.
Yeah, right there.
Well, it's going to have to be now. I've done it.
Well, it is. It is. This is sort of my post-production being laid out for me live as we speak.
Put it there.
But speaking of production, before we see this next piece, what's she done?
It was just a sudden thundering. I don't know what's going on behind there. There's some hilarity going on, and I should imagine it's going to end in trouble. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
More than likely. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by the ferrets on this channel called FerretTube, speaking of production, I moved from behind the camera, behind the scenes this week, because as we saw earlier on there, Kate made her very own sausage and egg muffin. Well, not one to be outdone, I decided to show you all what I'm like in the kitchen. But to do that, I realised I was lacking a very important piece of production equipment, a tripod.
And a kitchen.
And a decent kitchen to shoot in. But mostly a tripod, because I could have worked around my rubbish kitchen. So instead of going out and buying a tripod or ordering one from Argos or something like that, I simply enlisted the help of my mum.
Mummy!
So this next piece is a proper MahdDogg family production. And I really hope you enjoy it. I'm very proud of her. She's done very well. Hi, Mum. Here we go. It's now time to reveal the MahdMuffin. Hello, everyone. I have decamped from my home and I've gone to my mum's house because I'm going to make my version of the egg and sausage muffin that Kate's just made. Remember that one? Big, huge thing, massive egg everywhere. Well, I'm going to step this up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make my very own muffins, and I'm not using pork mince. I'm going to make my own sausage pork mince. 2 tablespoons of sugar. Half a teaspoon or 7 grams of dried active yeast. We leave that after mixing it. Then we melt 60 grams of butter and warm some milk up on the hob until it's bubbling. Out of our 750 grams of flour, we put half of it and a teaspoon of salt in the mixing bowl. We're going to add our yeasty water and our warm through milk until it's a sloppy mess in the bowl. Add the rest of the flour to the stand mixer and set it away to knead until it forms a nice tight dough ball, and then let that rise for an hour and a half. Next, cut it into small rounds about 1 centimetre thick, and then sprinkle with flour on either side, leaving them to prove for another 30 minutes. Get a non-stick pan up to a medium heat, and then cook them on either side for 10 minutes until golden. So, the first step is out of the way. I've got muffins. Very tasty muffins. But now, I need sausages and eggs. Now, I couldn't get any pork mince at the shop, so what I did was bought some pork shoulder chops, which is a nice fatty cut of meat which you can dice up nice and easily and pop into a food processor. That way you're going to mix it up and turn it into your very own ground pork. Now, I didn't exactly get the pork to a very good consistency, but I don't mind me meat being a little bit chunky. I'm using the same seasonings as Kate is, and just add them to the pork mince and give them a thorough mix. Homemade muffins, and we're just going to toast them off in the pan. We're going to take standard processed cheese, place over the top of the burgers. How to make the eggs. Oh, look at that. Perfect. And this one, sausage and egg muffin. I'm going to try one of each. I'm going to try a bite of each one, and then I'm going to eat them all. And here they are, the finished pieces. We've got one with a lovely mild British cheddar on. Look at that cheese. And we got one which is a classic processed cheese. Now the proof is in the pudding. So I'm going to go for the one that should taste just like a Matty D's. That's better than a Matty D's. Oh, that's with the processed cheese. The sausage is just as tasty, but really, really moist. And this is the British cheese. Look at that. Oh. Bear with me. This might get messy. Go away now.
You're the same as me. Just I want to be alone with it now.
Definitely.
I have to say though, you didn't, although you fully committed on the preparation and the cooking of the ingredients, you didn't commit to the same extent that I did when it came to getting a face full of it. Like, you were leaning over the plate. Like,
yes.
I was just like, yeah.
Well, you see, there's a major difference between you and me. Your face is a lot easier to clean because you don't end up with egg in your beard.
Do you know what? I think I did have egg in my beard. I had egg everywhere.
Well, for the fact that you were completely successful with the creation of the egg and sausage muffin, you ended up with egg on your face.
Yeah, but I was very impressed, I have to say, and your muffin skills are to be lauded. I have to say.
I thank you very much. That was my very first time making muffins. I've never done it before.
I don't even own a skillet, so.
Oh.
One of my neighbours bought me a pack of sourdough starter kit. I think it's about 3 months into the first lockdown, and I was just like, it's still sitting in its little envelope on the counter on the side. I was just like,
right, that's it. When I next come down, I have to teach you to bake. I have to teach you to bake a loaf of sourdough bread. Can I not just bake? All right. I'll teach you by demonstrating, and you can film it, and we'll use it as content. How's that? MahdDogg bakes sourdough bread to feed Keeper Kate, and I'll make something for the girls as well.
It has to have salmon in it. I think the girls will like that.
I think they will. I think we'll go for a kind of sashimi type feel for them. I think that might go down well.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, God, yeah, she loves raw salmon. I should get some more raw salmon for them, actually, because it's finding stuff that's going to, please her and make her want to eat. So I was so pleased, though. I can't wait to show you her spoilt little body being spoon-fed duck soup tomorrow morning. Yes. And then we're going to weigh them, too, and hopefully we've got a double chunker. Fingers crossed.
Oh, let's all hope. Send out positive vibes, everyone. We want a double chunk this weekend. Uncle Dogg needs to see it.
Absolutely. So that is the week that has been, and all that remains to be seen is what the girls get up to next. Mickey Mouse. Oh, good job. Good job. Good job. Oh, oh, sorry, Wriggles. Good job. What are you doing? Good job. Good job. Good job. What happened? Oh, did you break your head? Will you just eat it? Both of you? No, you see? Oh, Wriggles will. Scruffles, come here. Scruff! Scruffy! But if you get it by the spoon,
Yo no sé si es que te quiero más. Cada vez más rápido se nos da, más fácil. Debe ser que tú tienes algo que encontrarnos tan fácil. Pero eso es que quiero más. Eso feel VIP para ti, porque tú a mí haces feliz. Me queda presumir ay de ti. Qué bonito verte salir. Yo soy tu VIP. Papi, yo te pate, que tú me haces feliz. Me encanta presumirte. Tu amor me compromete. Soy tuya pa' que respeten.
it does seem like to massively spoiling her, but she just seems to get distracted. When it's just on the floor, she kind of, it's almost like she can't focus on it. But when she's in my arms, taking it off a spoon, she's totally into it. Wriggles is quite happy eating from the bowl. Don't worry about her so much.
Cuando tú me llenas cuerpo besos, esa sensación tú no la ves, pero que me llena con exceso más y más y más. Tú para ti, porque tú a mí haces feliz, me queda presumir ay de ti, qué bonito verte salir.
So whilst it does seem incredibly spoilt, it's actually really fun to do. And if it means she's getting a decent amount of biscuits and calories inside her once a day, then I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, you're such a good girl. Did you have enough? So Saturday it is, and I'm really excited for the weigh-in this week because I've been getting a good amount of food into her, I feel, and Wriggles is doing well on the porridge on her own. So let's get them weighed. Last week we had 681 grams for Scruffles, and it was 842 grams for Wriggles. Some patty in the pot. Right, ladies, come here, both of you. Thank you. Do that and that. Okay, are we on grams? We are. Scruffles. 699, and Wriggles 862. 699 and 862. 861. 862. Guys, I'm so excited. Fireworks, that was. Obviously can't let off real fireworks in front of the ferrets. We got a double chonker! We've got a double chonker! Scruffles is 1 gram away from 700 grams. And Wriggles, 862. So Wriggles put on 20 grams. And Scruffles put on 18 grams. That's a pretty perfect result for the week. We'll have a look at their poops again, but up until now, the last 4 days or so, the poops have been looking fine. So if the poops look good today, we'll knock the Pepto-Bismol on the head. Until next time we need it. But guys, double chunk! Congratulations to everybody who's contributed with ideas and recipes and encouragement from the sidelines. We're not going to feed them meat anymore. I've thought about giving them mice as well, and I'll be honest with you, the mess is horrible, and they do tend to store bits of them in places, and with having the outside run as well, the last thing I want is for there to be pieces of hidden meat rotting away, through the summer and stuff, and it will just be horrible. So anyway, the vet said, don't give them meat. And I said, and I made the argument, isn't that supposed to be the best diet for them, because that's, in the wild they eat meat, right? That's right, in the wild they eat meat, and isn't that the best diet for them? He said, yeah, in the wild they die of distemper and salmonella, and, their mortality rate is a lot lower than, in captivity. He said, so what do you want to give them the real wildlife experience? But I had to admit the vet's argument made a lot of sense, and couple that with the fact that it really, in the summer last year, it got quite hard to manage. We got a lot of flies. There was lots of sort of bits of dried meat stashed everywhere around on the studio floor. And the tube would get all kind of skanky from it, and I'd need to wash it regularly. And all of that maintenance has just gone away just by having them have biscuits. So biscuits it is. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to stress about giving them. We're now, by the way, in terms of the transition from what James Wellbeloved to the non-grain biscuits. I can't remember the name of the supplier now. I refilled this, and it was about 2/3 filled with James Wellbeloved, and the third. So if you remember last time, I mixed a quarter in, and then now I've mixed 2/3 and a third. Next it will be half and half. Then we'll go down to a 1/4 and 3/4, and then they'll be switched. And it seems to be working fine. They're eating fine. They're not picking out the James Wellbeloved and eating around the other ones. Are you? You're just eating. You're just eating, so you are. What are you doing? Oh.
Used to be afraid until I met you.
Do you want to go in the box?
Insecure,
Come here. Oh.
caught up in the bed, but you showed me how to heal. Took my
Now what are you going to do?
How to heal, and now I don't feel broken.
Are you okay? It's a little bit small for you, really, wasn't it? Did you steal one? You did. She's got one. You don't have to steal these. There's a whole bowl of them up there. Did you steal a biscuit? Did you steal a biscuit? Do they taste better when they're stolen? Do they taste better when they're stolen?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the FerretTube Synchronised Yawning team. And now Wriggles will perform the solo freestyle. That is a display of World Championship yawning.
That is all from us here on FerretTube TV. The girls are actually misbehaving and getting into everything they shouldn't at the moment, but it's probably time that I turned out the lights as I prepare for another week living with ferrets. If you want to watch the show being recorded, tune in at 7 p.m. GMT every Friday on FerretTube. Scruffles, treats! We're here across the weekend, every weekend over on FerretTube. And of course, if the girls are asleep, we are always posting more content on YouTube all the time. We've got ferret tips, tech guides, and cute clips going up daily. So make sure you hit subscribe, ring the notification bell so you know when we've posted something new. And if you want to get social, you will find us on all of these. Or maybe it's this side. I don't know. We're on all of those places anyway. Discord, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as ever. Ask Bunny, thank you so much for running that Instagram for us. And if you really love what we do and you want to support us on Patreon, you'll get early access to the weekly clips, exclusive footage from our Patreon cam, and you'll be helping us reach the goal of bringing rescue ferrets into the enclosure this summer a little bit more solidly. So we will put all the links you need in the description below, won't we, Wriggles? Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week, ferret fans.